Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into exactly how you can achieve a massive cucumber harvest, all backed by expert agronomic data. Let's get right into it.
So, want to enjoy delicious homegrown cucumbers this season? Of course you do. Stay tuned to learn the absolute secrets of perfect timing for planting them outdoors. Honestly, timing your planting perfectly is the true secret sauce to a garden full of crunchy, fresh veggies. It's quite literally the difference between a thriving vine and a totally failed crop.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering basics and ideal conditions, regional planting times, preparation and planting, care and common mistakes, and finally, harvesting.
Starting with Section 1, Basics and Ideal Conditions, Understanding Cucumis sativas. Let's take a look at the foundational needs of this plant.
Okay, so here is the scientific truth about Cucumis sativus. It's a highly heat-loving vegetable crop. Its entire vegetative and reproductive cycle depends directly on the thermal regime of the air and the soil. To put that in plain English, cucumbers absolutely crave heat and sunlight. They need at least 8 solid hours of direct sun a day to truly thrive and produce fruit.
And you know, what's really wild is just how incredibly strict these temperature limits are. For instance, if the ambient temperature drops below 14 degrees Celsius, your plant literally just stops growing. It hits the brakes completely. And if it hits minus 0.5 degrees, that's instant death for the plant. No coming back from that. On the flip side, temperatures above 40 degrees will cause severe heat stress and wilting. So that sweet spot you're really aiming for is an optimal 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. But here's the thing, warm air just isn't enough. Before you even think about putting a seed in the ground, you need to ensure your soil is perfectly structured. It needs to be light, well-draining, humus-rich, and fertile, with a neutral to slightly acidic pH right around 6.0 to 7.0. And here's the real kicker. The soil absolutely must be warmed up before planting. Waterlogged, freezing cold soil, it's going to instantly destroy those delicate roots and cause your seeds to just rot away. Moving on to Section 2, Regional Planting Times, Mastering the Calendar. Knowing exactly when to put your seeds into that perfectly prepared earth is everything. Now, planting windows shift significantly based on your specific setup and climate. We can use Bulgaria's varied climate as a really great example here. In mid-April, you can plant in unheated greenhouses. By May 10th to the 15th, you can actually move outdoors, but only if you're using a protective cover. If you aren't using covers, you've got to hold off until early June, just to be absolutely sure all frost danger has passed. Oh, and there's even a late window in July specifically for gherkins. Depending on your specific geography, you've got to adjust that calendar. In warmer southern and northeast regions, the soil warms up a lot faster, making direct sowing totally possible in mid to late April. But if you're in northern and mountain regions, there is a super high risk of night chills. Because of that, planting has to be delayed to late May or early June to avoid those deadly night frosts. Section 3, Preparation and Planting, Getting in the Dirt. Now that the weather is right, let's look at the exact methods for getting your cucumbers into the garden. Basically, you have 2 primary methods to choose from here. Direct sowing is generally much easier, it's favored by the pros, and it avoids root shock. But remember, your soil must be at least 15 degrees Celsius. Now, transplanting, that gives you a wonderful early harvest. However, because cucumbers have this incredibly fragile root system that absolutely hates being disturbed, if you want that early start, you absolutely must use biodegradable peat pots. You plant the entire pot directly into the soil to prevent any root damage whatsoever. Let's turn this into some actionable steps. Step 1, dig a hole or a nest in your prepared row. Step 2 is vital, and that's planting depth. You want to place the seeds exactly 2 to 3 centimeters deep. If you go any deeper than that, your seeds are really going to struggle to emerge. Step 3, space your plants out 25 to 30 centimeters apart, or about 90 to 100 centimeters between rows so they aren't fighting for nutrients. And finally, step 4, water them gently with a fine rosette so you don't wash the seeds away. On to Section 4, Care and Common Mistakes, Protecting the Harvest. This is the phase where beginners, unfortunately, often make critical, harvest-ruining errors. You want to avoid these common beginner mistakes at all costs. Planting too early in cold soil almost guarantees rot, and sowing your seeds way too close together will just choke the plants out. But here is a truly fascinating fact. Watering with cold water actually shocks the plant system, and it literally makes your cucumbers taste bitter. Crazy, right?
You also want to avoid irregular watering, no drying out or overwatering, and make sure you don't plant cucumbers in the same soil where you just grew pumpkin relatives, because that invites some very specific, nasty pathogens. So how do we actively protect our crop? Well, elevate your plants. Providing a trellis or a net for vertical growth is an absolute masterstroke. Think about it. Vertical trellising improves the airflow. It gets the leaves and the fruit completely off the damp ground, keeps everything nice and clean, and it drastically reduces the risk of deadly fungal diseases like Cuban mildew. To keep those vines thriving, you really need to commit to a strict routine of best practices. Always, always water locally right at the roots. Never wet the leaves because that just invites fungus. Water only in the morning using sun-warmed water. You'll also want to fertilize regularly with a balanced mix of nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus. And finally, take a walk through your garden daily to check for aphids, mites, and powdery mildew so you can catch any of those issues early on. Section 5. Harvesting, the fruits of your labor. If you've followed all these steps, we finally reach the absolute most rewarding phase of this entire explainer.
When it comes to the harvest, timing is everything. You have to harvest when the fruits have reached their optimal length and shape for their specific variety. Basically, pick your cucumbers before they start wrinkling or getting overgrown. If you wait too long, they lose that amazing crisp texture. Their seeds get super hard and they become bitter. They pretty much lose all their culinary value at that point.
Let's look at exactly how to detach the fruits safely. Step 1. Identify your mature, optimally sized cucumbers. Step 2. Always take garden scissors or a really sharp knife. Step 3. You're going to cut the stem about 1 to 2 centimeters away from the fruit itself. And step 4. This is absolutely paramount. Never pull or twist the fruit. Pulling can so easily snap those fragile vines, damage the roots, and completely ruin your future yields. Just don't do it. Gardening certainly requires patience and a keen attention to detail, but man, the reward is absolutely worth it. Now that you know exactly when and how to plant cucumbers outdoors, you can start your garden today and enjoy the incredible freshness of your own harvest. There is truly nothing in the world like eating a crunchy vegetable that you grew with your own 2 hands. Before we wrap things up today, please keep this important disclaimer in mind. This explainer provides general guidelines based on available agronomic information. Individual results may definitely vary due to local conditions. Always research specific regional advice and seriously consider consulting local agricultural experts for tailored recommendations just for you. We really hope this explainer has empowered you with the knowledge, the timing, and the techniques to grow an absolutely incredible crop this year. So with all these expert tips in your toolkit, which cucumber variety are you going to try planting first this season? And more importantly, will you risk an early start with those peat pots or play it safe and wait for the sun to perfectly warm the earth? Get out there, get your hands in the dirt, and happy growing.